Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Miya Ingle, and I am live in our digital studio here at our UpNorthLive studio, and I'm joined by a very special guest, that is Governor Gretchen Whitmer. So, Governor Whitmer, thanks so much for being here today.
Hi, Miya. Glad to be with you.
So we have a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to get right into the questions. On Monday, you signed a historic budget, and included in that budget is a historic spending for education. So with all that spending on education, how do you plan to track students' progress?
Well, first, let me start by saying I'm really proud of this budget. And I signed the education budget in Sutton's Bay. And people often ask, why on earth are you going all the way to Sutton's Bay to sign this budget? And it's because this budget is going to help students all across the state. The free breakfast and lunch for every student is going to save families about $850 a year per child, putting more resources into transportation to get our kids to schools, especially in rural areas. That's more money that can stay in the classroom, support the teacher, ensure that the child is getting the robust supports that they need to be successful. These are all things that are reflected in this budget. Obviously, funding is an important part of improving outcomes, but also we've got to be able to measure it, to your question. And that's part of what we are working with this new population council that I created to ensure that we've got the right measurements. Before, it was just a standardized test, and we know that those may or may not actually reflect student growth. We are making the investments on the front end and literacy coaches and kids with special needs and English language learners. So there's a lot of great stuff that is in this budget that is all geared toward improving student outcomes. But back to the free lunch and breakfast. We know that if children are worried about where their next meal is going to come from, or their stomach is rumbling as they're trying to learn, that it absolutely takes away from the classroom instruction. And so that's just one of many things in this budget that I think is really going to help us improve outcomes for our kids.
And then going off of that, when do you expect to see an impact in the classroom?
Well, we know that in the course of an ordinary year, there's a lot of learning loss between the last day of school in June and the first day of school in August or September. That has been dwarfed by the pandemic, which has been the ultimate disruption. So we know that it is going to take a couple years for us to really rebound and get our kids back on track. What we also know is the science tells us the kids have got to have mental health supports. They've got to have counseling. They've got to have tutoring and literacy coaches. And that's what we've built into this budget. So we're not going to see immediate rebound, but we are well on our way. And ultimately, our goal is, of course, to make Michigan a top 10 state when it comes to educational outcomes for our kids.
And one question that a lot of different viewers sent us is, are you satisfied with school security across the state, and are we doing enough?
Well, we're taking steps in the right direction. Will I ever be satisfied? Probably not, because we'll never make the system perfect, but there's always more work to do. As every parent knows, the anxiety of dropping your kid off at school and hoping that you see them at the end of the day, and we see gun violence playing out all across this country and communities and school districts. We know that the greatest danger to a young person in America, and only in America, is gun violence. And so this budget reflects a lot of investment to make our schools safer, to improve school buildings. We've made historic investments in public safety and supporting our first responders. But we've also taken some steps to have some common sense gun violence prevention measures, background checks, and safe storage requirements. All of these things are going to contribute to making our kids safer, but there's always going to be more work to do. And I'm eager to continue this with parent voices, with voices of Michiganders all across the state from a variety of perspectives, because I think we need a Michigan solution. We can't wait for the feds to figure this out. We've got to continue to move forward.
And Governor, you have done a lot of interviews about the budget, but is there anything that you really haven't got the chance to talk about yet that you are most excited about or most proud of in the budget?
Well, we've gotten a lot of good things put into this budget, specifically as I'm here in Northern Michigan. But no, it's not unique to Northern Michigan, but I often hear about the need for affordable housing. And so I was in Emmett County yesterday with Habitat for Humanity. They're partnering with MISHDA So the state and Habitat have come together to build out homes. And these homes are going up. They're beautiful homes. I met a family who moved from an apartment into a house with their 2 kids, and the improvement in quality of life, the ability for kids to go outside and play and have their own space in the home. It's just words can't describe what that kind of investment means for people. We know the economy depends on it, and our strategic population growth goals do as well. And that's why the $50 million we put into affordable housing is another big step. We put 100 in last year, but certainly there are needs that we've got to move fast to meet.
So yesterday, Goshen Inc. announced it bought 270 acres of land in Green Charter Township for the electric vehicle battery plant. This is another question that a lot of our viewers sent us. They're concerned about a company with ties to China operating in Mecosta County. Are you concerned?
Well, I'm not, and here's why. We've worked really hard to make sure that we are vetting opportunities for Michiganders, and that's the first and foremost important thing. We know that when one of our incumbent Michigan motor companies made an announcement about Kentucky, everyone was really upset about it because we want to win all of these competitions. We were competing with a lot of other states for this opportunity, and Goshen chose Michigan because of our high quality workforce and the ability to build a factory with people who have the know-how to do this advanced technology work. Michigan's really unique, and that's why they chose Michigan. We also know that this is an area that needs high quality, good paying jobs. And so this partnership with a number of different stakeholders, I think is going to be really important for improving the quality of life for people, making sure people make enough money to be prosperous in this part of the state, and to show that we can do high-tech work anywhere and be the future of mobility. So these things are really important. I know that there are detractors who are trying to make people nervous and feed into anxieties, but I sleep well at night knowing that when Michigan wins these projects, we grow our economy, we put more people on the path to prosperity, and we ensure our long-term economic health as a state. So I'm proud of the work that we've done. I would never knowingly work with anyone who might compromise our homeland security. This is a good deal for Michigan, and I know that folks in the community are really excited about what it's going to mean for quality of life, from everyone from the barber in town to the small business owner to the superintendent, who will have more residents who will have kids that will be attending the local public schools.
And today, the UAW presented a list of demands to General Motors. And one of those demands is that the union wants bargaining with electric joint venture battery factories to be folded into the UAW national agreement. What are your thoughts on that demand?
Well, I think that, the UAW and the big three are going to be negotiating between now and early this fall. I understand the importance of ensuring that workers can make enough money to take care of their families and have the kind of support so that they can live a good quality of life. I also understand our companies need to be able to make a profit and grow and have, I think, stability in their workforce. And so they will continue to negotiate. I'm paying very close attention, but I'm going to do my best not to get in the way, but to encourage, that progress in these negotiations. And I think them putting out what they think is important at this stage is probably a positive sign.
And this is another question that a few viewers sent us. What are your political aspirations beyond being governor?
You know what? I don't have political aspirations beyond being governor. My goal is to serve for the next 3.25 years and hand this state over to whomever succeeds me in as strong a position as we can be. And so that gets 100% of my focus.
And the United States credit rating has been downgraded. How will this impact Michiganders?
Well, one of the things I'm really proud of is we have gotten our credit rating increased and improved here in Michigan, upgraded. And I was just in New York City a few weeks ago meeting with rating agencies. They're really impressed with the way that we have paid down debt in Michigan, state debt that was accrued before I became governor. We've paid down billions. We've built up a rainy day fund that's almost $2 billion. And we created a school rainy day fund So in the event that we've got bumps in the road in the economy, we won't have to cut our kids' education. So I'm really proud of what we've done. Obviously, the federal credit rating is something that could have an impact, but our state credit rating is better than it's been in a long time, and I'm really proud of that.
And before we let you go, Governor, of course, you are here in Northern Michigan, a place that you come to every now and then. I'm just curious, what are some of your favorite things to do or favorite places to go in Northern Michigan?
Well, I mean, I am partial to this part of the state, although as governor, I love all 83 counties equally. But I do love coming up here to this part of the state. And I just, grew up going to Elk Rapids as a kid with my family, and Onekama and, Traverse City. And so this is, I think, a special place where an evening bonfire with s'mores and sitting around playing games with the family, card games or games around the fire, I think are some of my best memories growing up and some of my best memories as a mom with my own kids.
Nothing beats summertime in Northern Michigan, that's for sure. So Governor Gretchen Whitmer, thank you so much for taking time today to talk with us, and enjoy the rest of your time here in Northern Michigan.
Thank you, Maya.
Take care.